What's illegal but people act like it isn't? Switching lanes without using a signal. Jesus Christ, it's one motion with your wrist, it's not hard. And what the fuck are you people doing? Do you just hope and pray no one rear ends you? How do you get through the week in one piece? Question mark. Edit. Through T. In order. Best to worst. It goes. 1. Using your damn blinker. 2. Using it way too early. 3. Not using it. 4. Using it for 0.000002816 seconds right at the end of your turn. 4 always gets me. Just letting you know I just changed lanes. Sampling bulk candy in grocery stores. Why did that never occur to me when I was little? Instead I would beg my mom. She would say no. I'd end up in tears. And make the trip to the grocery store horrible for everyone involved. My mother was the one doing the sampling. Hell. She'd open random boxes of stuff so she could see if she liked something or not. The older I got, the more nervous it made me of anyone seeing. She'd try to get me to try as well, and I wanted nothing to do with it. Dropping the cigarette butts on the ground. LPT. An empty tin of mints works great as a travel ashtray, plus the residual mint smell helps contain it. I bought a portable ashtray that works under a similar principle. Metal container that slides open like a matchbox to stash dead buds in. It's not mint scented, but it works well enough to get me to a trash can or proper ashtray. Teenagers with leaking each other's nudes. Imitating myself and seen it happen to many classmates. Lots of kids don't realize you can get charged with CP as a minor. Some kid at my high school got caught with a shit ton of nudes and they tried to get him with a CP charge. IDK what happened in the end, but yeah, it's ducked up. Folks, especially young people, greatly underestimate what being on the sex offender registry will do to a person's life. They think it's a slap on the wrist just to get that. But honestly, the whole thing is designed to try to make the people on it just do society a favor and commit suicide. If some kid gets on it for CP as a kid, it may not look so bad at that point. But what about when they are 40 and they are still on it for CP? Looks pretty bad then. All their personal info, picture, everything is on the net for people to find. They can't live within 1,000 foot of parks or churches in most places, and any small area can be converted into a park. So neighborhoods will sometimes do that to force sex offenders to move. They can't travel anywhere without having to register in that place. And they can never travel out of the country. Most countries would take them. Sheriff's officers will often go door to door when they first move in just to tell folks, hey, guess who your new neighbor is? And none of that even covers the vigilantism of people attacking them. One guy had someone break into his house and try to beat him to death with a hammer over it. Every year some dozen new legal restrictions are placed on people on the sex offender registry, with the obvious end goal of making their very existence either completely illegal or so miserable that they just off themselves, so we don't have to deal with them anymore. And TBH, it seems pretty effective. Edit. And in case you think only child predators end up on there, here's a lady who was facing the list for being topless in her own garage. Link. News.com. AU/lifestyle/real-life/news-life/mum charged with sex crime for topless cleaning in front of kids/news story/ED7 or 88B89 or 8D4659. 4B 21649 CCA5E3. Edit 2. 1 correction. More countries than I thought will allow sex offenders. Most North American and Asian countries will not. Some European countries will. Link. org/resources/travel matrix/. In the US, telling non-managerial employees not to discuss wages. The National Labor Relations Act, which was passed in 1935, makes it illegal for an employer to prohibit you in any way from discussion of your wages with others, unless your management, as in, actually have control over others' salaries. Then they can tell you not to disclose those. Problem is it will states can't fire you for this specifically, so instead you're fired for not being a team player. Sure, that sounds good. This is why employers in these states set up policies like being written up for being more than 2 minutes late, so they always have some reason to fire you. Not picking up after your dog. There's an awful lot of doggy landmines in the dog walking trails where I take my dogs. My favorite is when they bag the shit and then leave the bag on the side of the trail. I see it constantly. It's going to give me a stroke from the rage. Edit. Lot of people responding that there is circling back and picking it up on the way out. Yes, I understand that this is a thing. My comment was referring to those that leave it. Yes, it exists. Yes, people do it, and I see it so often that I don't think it is always people forgetting. I've only seen this once, and it made me uniquely angry. The dog's stuff would have naturally decomposed, and you shoved it in a bag. You sick. Failure of a person. In South Africa, literally everything. It's not illegal if nobody important sees you, and even if they do see you, they either don't care or you can probably bribe them. Sounds like Ecuador. I'm from Canada and was backpacking there with my wife, a local lady, about 70 and originally from Florida. We stayed with carried 2 revolvers in her purse. Me being a gun enthusiast had to have a look and ask some questions. I asked if guns were even legal in Ecuador. She replied roughly they are, but it's too much paperwork. I just buy these off a dirty cop, and if I get busted I bribe that cop and go buy more guns. What the duck? That lady sounds like a boss. I know who I'm staying with next time I end up in Ecuador. In the Netherlands. Scaffold theft. It is insane how much scaffolds get stolen. Worth of thousands of euros. You mean scaffold as in construction? That's actually really weird. Jup. I shit you not. There was a whole item on TV last week about that business. It's like people's bicycles get stolen, so they decided to steal bicycles. Meanwhile each year, there is scaffold material that gets stolen worth 15 million euros is in the Netherlands. That's a lot, considering we only have 17-meter inhabitants. Close bracket. Doing U-turns, or turning left or right when there's signs saying it's not allowed. But it was a 3-point turn, not a U-turn. Well, I think you've got them there. Entering the freeway at a very slow speed for no reason, or stopping completely first for no reason. Edit. Also I'll add slowing down. While changing lanes you are supposed to remain at the same speed, or accelerate if needed. Changing lanes and then hitting the brakes causes shitloads of accidents. That's why it's illegal in many states. Edit 2. I know there are exceptions for high traffic areas in larger cities, like Seattle and LA. Some have lights to regulate how many cars can enter at a time, but they still have an acceleration lane to get moving after the light. Saw this car taking the ramp in front of me, and they just slowed to a stop right before you can enter the freeway. 2 cops were behind them and just flicked on their lights, and I could see one of them wave his hands like what the duck apostrophe. Everyone behind them had to scoot over into all that road debris to get on the freeway. I saw someone stopped waiting to get on the freeway at the end of 500 feet. Acceleration lane, on ramp. It is called an acceleration lane on the books for a reason. People just tend to call them on ramps and off ramps. But the original term is acceleration lane and deceleration lane. You know, for speeding up to enter, or slowing down to leave. I don't know how some people can't comprehend this. People need to be at speed when entering the freeway or they can cause traffic collisions and death. Low level stealing from work. Maybe a few pence that I leave in my pocket. The accidental AA batteries. The computer monitor. I hoarded pens like crazy to where I would have a bucket of them every year. Yearly on Christmas I would bring it back as a present. We did Secret Santa for Christmas at my previous job, which I hated. I had the reputation of being the very sarcastic member of the team, and bought a small cactus with a note from one prick to another. The gifts were distributed randomly by one of my managers, and my gift was placed in front of the director of the store. I must have turned bright red. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. Then my best work friend cottoned on and tried to shuffle the presents around a little more. It ended up in front of the director's wife. She made one of the other managers read it out loud because she didn't bring her reading glasses. I may never get that many drinks given to me on a night out again. I work in downtown Seattle a lot. So heroin and having your dick out. What's going on in Seattle? Lots of heroin, invisible penises. Littering. I don't even care that it's illegal. It's the apathetic act itself and its repercussions that bother me. Oh man. I was out driving with someone, and they just passed me their fast food drink, and said here throw this out the window for me, and when I refused they went what? It's not like you're going to get caught. That's not the ducking reason I didn't want to do it. I was walking home with my friend when I was a teenager, and I had some rubbish I was carrying home to put in the bin. She said I should just chuck it on the ground, but I wouldn't, and she was like PFFD. No one's looking. Same as you. Not the reason I wouldn't do it. Rolling stops at stop signs. So many things with driving. Speeding. Using your blinker. Not passing on the right. Don't get me wrong. I do it too, but driving laws are definitely seen more as guidelines when a cop isn't right there in front of you. Gotta love when they put the blinker on as they're a quarter way or more into your lane. Like, fuck me right. Insider trading. Unless you are a politician in the US. Not just the US unfortunately. Texting while driving. I live in a college town, and I take a mile walk every morning. And I like to people watch while waiting at crosswalks. It's infuriating how people can just stare at their phones while driving. I could understand if it was just when stopped, though you shouldn't do it even then. But these people roll up to a light, head tilted 90 degrees to the side, one hand on the wheel, and it drives me nuts. We all have company cars where I work. Great perk. Don't pay for gas, maintenance, or insurance. I never have to buy a car again. A new one just appears in my driveway every other year. If you get a texting while driving ticket however, that perk is taken away for 5 years. They treat it the same as a DUI. I know someone who was rear-ended by a guy texting and driving in a company car on his way to do a job, plumbing I believe. He was going 60 when he hit my completely stopped relative and didn't even try to stop, which tells me that he was staring straight at his phone the whole time. He was fired. In the UK, cycling on the pavement, sidewalk. Also in the US, I think it's allowed if you are under age 10, but otherwise you need to be on the street. That's up to the locality. It isn't illegal everywhere. Perfectly legal in Richmond. That, for example. Masturbating on an airplane. Thanks a lot. Bin Laden. I thought it was just frowned upon. I also frown upon it. Stealing artwork/photos from the internet and using it for commercial purposes without permission. Logos. Shirts etc. Close bracket. Not talking about older images that are public domain. Like Starry Night. I'm talking artwork done by currently living artists who are most likely trying to make a living off their work. Too many people think that just because it's on the internet means it's free to use. Here link. B/CV1DWPLFHWK T equals 1050 is a link to a great video by Nerd City discussing YouTuber merchandise. This is the section where he shows off how much Jake Paul has stolen clip art and sold it to kids. Not using your damn turn signal. And I wish this one were getting enforced instead of speed traps. So much more common. If the cop can see you, their camera can too. Not gonna be able to lie your way out of crossing a lane and then signaling after. Unlike speeding, people don't seem to be any better about it when a cop appears in traffic. Just seems like it'd be a better revenue generator. Using a cell phone while driving. I've seen so many people on their phones at stoplights. Light goes red. Head goes down to the phone. Light goes green. They snap up and take off. Or texting while driving on the highways. There's someone I know who would put their phone on the steering wheel and text the whole time when driving. Brother-in-law admitted he sometimes sends emails from his laptop while driving on the freeway. Excuse me, what? Like, how can you even do that without blowing something up? Underage drinking. In Scotland. 1. You can publicly buy and drink alcohol at 18. 2. You can drink a wine, beer or cider with a meal in a restaurant publicly when accompanied by an adult at 16. 3. You can be given alcohol in your own home by a parent or guardian at their own discretion from age 5. US drinking laws seem mad to me. It's complete BS. Especially when you consider the amount of people that drink way too much on their 21st birthday, cause they aren't used to it. You can literally be drafted into a war and not be able to drink. Anything politicians/celebrities get away with on a daily basis. Also weed in my country because the police are too underfunded to care anymore. Pretty sure that's part of why they legalized it here in Canada. Nobody gave a duck. So the gov was just like may as well tax that shit. Apostrophe. Yeah, pretty much lol. It will actually be 3 years tomorrow since it's been legalized here. Edit. As someone pointed out, it will be only 2 years tomorrow. I realized I was thinking of Gord down as death. It will have been 3 years since he died tomorrow. Speeding. Speed limits are more guidelines than rules. I know people hot take the whole most cops won't pull you over if you're less than 5 miles per hour over norm to mean the speed limit is 60. So I'm going to go 65 because I can. That said, if everyone else is speeding, then it's sometimes safer to speed along with them than be the one person going the speed limit. It's all about following the flow of traffic. If the limit is 55 but everyone is going 75, then 75 is going to be the prudent speed. Bribing politicians. Yeah, most politicians think they're above the law just because they're a part of it. Very annoying. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.